Okay, this is just going to be a basic overview of how to use the Carnegie Cognitive Tutor. You'll always start at a screen like this when you log in, and you always want to click on Start Problems here. When you get to this screen, this is the problem that you have to do. Remember now, your goal here is, if you look in the top right corner here, these are your skill bars. If you click on them, it tells you all the skills that you're trying to get. Your goal is to get these bars to go all the way up until they turn orange. When you get all the bars to turn orange, it's going to move you on to the next section. So as an example, we're going to go through this, and again, this isn't specifically how to do these problems, it's more about how to use this program and what you're trying to accomplish. But we're going to fill in some of these things. It's asking for a quantity name here, and down here it says to write the expression, define a variable for the time. So we're going to put time up here. And then in this column, we're going to be writing a rule for the distance. So we're going to put distance up here. Okay, now we're going to come down to units. Now here they're asking us for the unit of time. If you read the problem, it's saying that our unit of time is hours. So we're going to type the hours in, and if you notice, your green bar is starting to go up there, and that's for identifying the unit. Now watch what happens. They'll only accept the right answer. So for distance, we know that the distance here is miles, as you can see from the problem, but let's say we put in meters instead. And you'll notice a red box comes up, and your bar actually goes down. So it does require you to put in the right answer the first time, otherwise your bars will go down, and you're going to have to be able to get these answers correct over and over again for your bars to go up. So let's continue on through this problem. We're going to put the correct answer in. Okay, so that will come up. If you notice, if you have red boxes, that means you have a wrong answer. So let's start answering these questions. It says, how far will you have flown in 2 hours? So we're going to go ahead and put 2 hours in here. Now, one step that I want you guys to make sure here is when you're doing these problems, this actual program will be useful to use. Most people want to use a separate calculator, but this will actually be a calculator for you. So in this case, we know to figure out what the total distance is, we're going to take 2 and we're going to multiply it by the rate, which is 325. Watch what I can do. If I can type in 2 times 325, it will actually calculate that for you instead of you having to do it using a separate device. So that turns out to be 650, and if you can notice, your bars are going up again. So we go to the next problem. It says how many hours are required for the plane to travel 325. So in this case, they want us to start putting 325 here. Okay, and we figure out how many hours it takes to do that, which is 1 in this case. Now we go to the third question. Now here, what we're going to do is that we know that the hours is going to be 5 hours. But watch what happens when I type in something wrong. Let's say I type in 3. If I type in 3, notice that my bars are going down again. Okay, and if I come over here and I type in, 325, I know that's a wrong answer. And again, you're going to see these bars going down. You cannot complete the problem until you fill in all the boxes. It says there's more work to do on this problem. So if you try and click done and you're not done, then it's not going to let you move on. Now, there's a couple of tools you can hit. Let's say we didn't know how to do this problem here. Let's say that we actually we're confused. There's 2 things that you can do. You can either do an example, or you can click on a hint. Well, an example, what that does is it gives you the same exact type of problem, and it tells you exactly what to type in. Okay, so it says try typing the phrase in the time worked. So we type in the time worked, and that's obviously right. And it takes you through and tells you over here, if you can look, it's highlighting exactly what you're looking for. Okay, so as you go through these problems, it's going to highlight them, and they want you to be able to take that to the actual problem that you're doing. So let's go back to the problem. Okay, and now I want to do is I want us to take a hint here, and we can read what the hint says. It says, read the problem statement. What information is given in question 3 about the time that the airplane flies? So you can look at this, and you're looking at question 3. How far will you have flown in 5 hours? So they're trying to get you to understand, without giving you the answer, that it's going to be 5. Okay, so we can put in 5 there, and maybe we have an answer. Oh, look, we have the answer. Good. Well, on this one, we're still not sure, so let's click hint again. Okay, well, if we click hint, it says you're given a value for the time that the airplane flies. Find the distance the airplane flies. Let's say that you still don't understand. We can always take another hint. Now, what you want to understand is anytime you click the hint button, these bars are also going to come down. So they're going to require you to keep doing these problems without taking hints. Otherwise, they're not going to move you on to the next section. You'll never get your gold bars is what you're looking for. Okay, and this is our last hint. So it says, you're given a value for the time that the airplane flies. Find the distance that the airplane flies by calculating 325 times the time that the airplane flies. So they're actually telling you how to do this problem. They're telling you to type in 325 times the number of hours, which was 5. And then we have our answer. Okay, and we can type in our expression. In this first column, we just need a variable to represent hours. And then in this one, we're going to represent the expression to find what the total distance would be, which is 325 times our h. And that's how you complete a problem. And when you click done, it will take you to the next problem. One of the other things you can do if you're having problems, besides using an example and a hint, is you can actually come over to these tabs over here. There's a table of contents and there's a lesson. The table of contents is just going to tell you what unit you're on and what section you're on, things like that. But if you go to the lesson is going to actually take you through an outline. It's almost like a textbook for you, and it's going through and telling you how to do this. Now, I know the tendency for most people is they don't want to read through this, but this can be a very useful tool for you when you're doing this on your own, because it walks you through exactly what some of the terms mean, what you're looking for, and even gives you a list of terms up here on the top. And if you click on them, it'll give you a definition of what those terms are. So I clicked on pattern, and it goes to the glossary, and it actually tells you what the definition of a pattern is, and then gives you an example of what a pattern would look like. And we can scroll down through here, and basically what it's doing is it's going through a basic problem like what we were just doing. It's very similar to the example tab that we used before, but some people have a little bit hard time following that example tab. So this is just another tool that you can use to make sure you're understanding how to do these problems.